Hello everyone, today the 29th of November 2020. I'm excited to be back with all of you and share with you all insights from my sales journey which has been over 2 decades. The majority of the time that I've spent doing sales has been in a place in UAE. And after selling software solutions and credit cards, I got the opportunity in 2005 to be part of a very important industry, which was the mortgage finance. And why this is so important is because I got married doing sales in mortgages. I became a father. I saw the maximum challenging situations during that phase, which was almost over a decade. And I got to meet and interact with so many different nationalities across the world, thanks to Dubai, because it invites people from every land. And being in the home finance and mortgage industry for almost a decade, you could imagine the different kind of challenging situations that a customer and a mortgage provider faces in that journey. So I'm very excited to share with all of you experiences from this very important phase of my sales journey. So the very first experience that comes to my mind is when I was just had finished my sales product training with one of the local banks in UAE, and I got an opportunity to meet the first real estate broker. And how I met was my team leader and myself. We were discussing about a particular customer's application, and he was getting a call continuously back to back, and he was very busy. So he told me, Pradeep, I don't know who is calling me, but can you answer the phone? So I answered the phone and I heard a very young and excited voice saying that, we have a customer who has come down from India. He's a very important customer. He's booked a property with one of the top developers here, and he would like to arrange a mortgage finance. So will you be able to come over and see us? So after understanding where the location for the meeting was, which was very close to our office in Dubai, as soon as I disconnected the phone, I told my team leader that this inquiry has come for me to meet a new client. Can I go? So he was like, yes, Pradeep, please go ahead. So I reached the real estate office within half an hour's time. And the moment I introduced myself at the reception, the person who had called me, the real estate broker, he came out and he's very happy to see me, and he took me into the conference room and he introduced me to the customer. And the customer and real estate person both were so happy to see me, and they started off by saying, thank you so much for coming over to meet us, because before we called your bank, we called up so many other banks, but none of the representatives turned up. So I'm like, it's my duty to visit customers, and that's why I'm here. So they shared with me their profile, and it was a very unique profile because my product training had just finished and I knew about this particular profile segment, and fortunately or unfortunately our bank had not done any particular case of this particular profile. So he was a non-resident customer, a self-employed from India, and the property that he has booked was a very top property, but it was a very low amount. The property value itself was less than $500,000 dirhams. So, I shared all the requirements, the process. The good thing about this particular customer was he was very organized. He had all the documentation already filed with him, including his financials, the property details, his KYC documents. Everything was like filed perfectly for me to carry back with me. So when I went to office and shared this particular case with the team leader, like, Pradeep, this particular case, as a bank, we've not done it. So if it gets approved, we'll be the first one to get it done, and it can open a complete different segment of lending for the bank. But please do not spend a lot of time doing this. So I told myself, okay, nothing to lose. Anyways, I haven't submitted any application till now. So I gave a lot of time in understanding the documentation of this particular client as a case study. And every evening I used to sit down for extras in the office, and I used to just think about how is the best possible manner to present this application so that chances of it getting the right kind of decision that the customer is expecting comes in the favor of the customer. It took me almost 3 to 4 late evenings sitting in the office, and finally I could package that mortgage application. And to my surprise, when the credit underwriting team found out about this application, they called up my team leader. He was that time traveling. So they found out my number, which was very unusual because in those early days in mortgage in 2005, credit teams never used to call the sales teams. So I got a call from the manager of the credit underwriting team, and he asked me, Pradeep, can you come and see us? So I was invited over to the credit department, which was a first for me. And they asked me a few questions to know more about the customer. And they were very happy that I could answer all of them and also supported with the documentation. And from there I left. And that same evening, I got a call asking for a few more details which I could furnish. And the next morning, I got an email stating that this customer's loan has been approved. And this was the first case that got approved for me. It was so special, even though the loan amount was very less, but it made my mark felt on the sales numbers on the chart. So my team leader, who came back after a short trip, he was very happy to see my first loan disbursed, and he asked me, Pradeep, which case was this? I don't know, it was the first non-resident Indian customer. So he's like, congratulations, even though the loan amount is small enough, but at least you've opened your account when it comes to selling. And the same day, I got a call from the same real estate broker inviting me and my team leader over for a meetup again with the client, saying that the client would like to thank you personally. So when we met the client, he was very happy, and he told us something which stays with me till date, that Pradeep, we spoke to a lot of bankers, but the way you came and met us, understood us, gave us time, it meant a lot to us. And seeing the result which has gone in our favor, we are so happy. And we would like to also share with you the other investments that we've already done in Dubai, and we'd like you to help us with the finance. So he came and he put in front of us 12 to 14 property agreements, and he said that, can your bank help us with financing all of this? And to our surprise, which we were not expecting, we said that absolutely, we could help you. We'll just go back to our office, discuss it with our credit underwriting team, and come back to you how many properties we can finance. So that initial requirement, which was under $500,000, when we ended up doing the overall evaluation, we could lend to him up to 6 to 7 million dirhams. So this particular customer taught me something very, very important, which has been with me till date, is do not prejudge your customers. A lot of times when we meet a customer, understand their requirements, and if it's a very small requirement, we tend to just not give it that kind of commitment, because we feel the amount of efforts that we'll give it are not going to give us the right kind of returns. But I will say, treat every customer with the same commitment, with the same enthusiasm, and be transparent with your customers. Don't overpromise, don't underdeliver. So whenever I get an opportunity to meet a client, irrespective of their loan amount, I used to be equally excited, because I knew my first customer became my most important customer and gave me so many loans to achieve my targets as well. And not only that, that particular real estate broker, he got so impressed by me and my bank that every time he used to get a customer looking for home finance, the first person that he used to invite was myself. And that real estate introducer became such an important aspect for me and my bank, that he was the first one with which we actually had an official real estate partnership. And that first year of mortgage sales, 60 to 70% of my mortgage customers were referred by this particular real estate broker. And why did this happen? Because of me taking that initiative and going and meeting that particular customer that first time he called up. Imagine if some other banker would have reached there earlier, he would have not ended up calling us. So this was a very important learning curve right at the start of my mortgage sales journey. And you can imagine working in different roles as a mortgage advisor, as a business development manager, managing the alternate channel, and later heading sales teams in mortgages. The amount of different customers and experiences that would have come across in my life. And there are a couple of other experiences that which I would like to share with you all. One that comes very much, refreshed, and I can share it with you all is one customer, a very handed customer. He called all the mortgage bank representatives to his office and told them that I'm going to do a property transaction in 3 weeks time, and I'm looking at home finance. So everyone come over and give a presentation. So all the other bankers came with laptops. I was the only one without a laptop. I just went with my documentation. And they all got a chance to present themselves before me. When my chance came, I entered the conference room and I took the permission of the customer to use their big whiteboard that they had in the office. And I took the markers and I drew 2 dates basically. One was the date that day when we were meeting, assuming that the customer is going to go ahead with his home finance with me. And the next date was 21 days from that date. And I took them through each and every day and how we would do the mortgage disbursement on the 21st day. And after hearing me out, the customer came out along with me, thanked each and every bank representative and said that, we are going ahead with Pradeep Manjrekar for a mortgage finance requirement. And I was asked to wait, and I asked them only one question: so what was the reason you chose me versus the other people? He's like, Pradeep, because when I gave the briefing, I told everyone that I want to do the property transaction in 3 weeks from now. But everyone did not give us that priority. Everyone just gave us their product offerings and the benefits. You told us how you could help us achieve that goal within 3 weeks. So that's the reason you're going to do a mortgage finance. So what this experience taught me was you have to listen to your client and you have to understand what is important. Sometimes it is that deadline they would like to reach. Sometimes they would like a better interest rate. Sometimes they would like just to change the bank because they're not happy with the service or the lender. So if you've understood what is important for your client, then accordingly you can present to them. This was a very important learning curve, and it also made me realize that the gadgets and technology can help you, but you need to apply your mind and understand your client and give them the solution accordingly. So after spending 5 to 6 years in mortgages working for banks, I got an opportunity to run a mortgage brokerage company right at the peak of 2008, 2009. And one fine day while I was running that mortgage brokerage sales team, I got a call. It was a very unusual call. And that call stated that, I'm an American citizen and I would like to, meet you. And I understand you're running this mortgage solutions company. So are you available to meet me? So generally, we used to get invited to visit customers or at a common place at a cafe or something. This was a bit unusual because they wanted to come over and meet me. So I was all okay with it. So as per the time given, it was 11 o'clock in the morning that we had scheduled on a Sunday. So sharp at 11:01, this tall elderly gentleman enters our office, and the office was a very open plan that we had, so we could see everyone who walked in from the main entrance. That person entered, he asked the receptionist about myself, and the receptionist brought her to my place. And the moment I introduced myself, the first reaction I got was, Pradeep, I'm sorry I'm late. We were scheduled for 11. I've entered a minute late. And it was because of you. Because you didn't inform me I have to pay for a valet parking down. If I would have known that, I would have not spent arguing with that valet person. I'm like, don't worry, sir, I'll take care of the charges. No, it's not about the charges. You should have just informed me before. So that was how the meeting started, not on a very happy note. So the conversation started, and he just asked me to introduce myself. I introduced myself about my mortgage journey, my experience. And then he left. And it kept me thinking. He could have just spoken to me on the phone and understood about my experience. He came all the way to do that. And he left, and I carried on with my other meetings for the day. And end of the day, I get an email that, Pradeep, congratulations. I'm happy to inform you that I'm appointing you as my home finance consultant to help me with my mortgage for the investment that I'm intending to do in Dubai. And these are my details, and I would like to come and see you again as per your convenience. So the next meeting was again scheduled in our office, and I made sure that his parking was already taken care of. He came, he understood the requirements, the process, and he gave me exactly what I requested when it came to documentation, and it was filed such nicely. I could take it straight over to any of our lending mortgage finance partners, and we could submit the application. It was so well organized. But unfortunately, because of his age and other permutation combination, it was a very challenging scenario. And one thing I always remember during my mortgage journey was I never committed anything before I got the approval from the bank. So I had not promised him anything. So when I submitted this particular application to one of the multinational banks, I was invited over again by the credit manager to have a discussion on this. And they discussed and they understood each and every fact about the case, and the best part of that was everything had a supporting document. And after a lot of exchange of information and observations, they told me, okay, Pradeep, we are going to go ahead and approve the loan, but not for the desired amount that the customer has requested, but 15% lower. So if the customer is okay, we can go ahead with it. So I had to give a call. And knowing this customer, I knew he was a very sophisticated customer. He would not be happy to know that there is a reduction in the loan amount versus what he had requested. So I called him up, I shared with him this, and he's like, I'm fine with it, let's process it. He processed the loan, everything happened, and within 2 to 3 weeks time his mortgage was disbursed. And that time he invited me over to a hotel restaurant. So that was the first time we were meeting away from my office. And he was a complete different person altogether, very chilled out, not in his usual suit and tie. And he told me, Pradeep, I'm a retired person from the US Armed Forces. And I've met across a lot of people in my life. And one thing I can tell you is that you're going to go a long way, because the way you handled me, and I'm not an easy to maintain guy. You managed me well, you kept up the professional ethics of working as a mortgage broker, and that's the reason you got the deal. I met a lot of mortgage brokers before you, but the way you came across, you're not in a hurry to close the application, you're not in a hurry to just give me another solution. You understood what was required by me and gave me the best solution. Even though I would have been more happier to have a higher loan amount, but I'm fine because I know I was dealing with a professional here. So today I'm going to thank you. He actually gave me a letter thanking me that, Pradeep, this is a small appreciation from my side, and that is so special for me, so dear. What it taught me is basically you don't have to hurry it up. You have to be disciplined enough. You have to know that a mortgage finance is one of the most important finance a customer takes, irrespective of what situation is he in life. and if you've got that opportunity to help them with achieving their biggest investment, it has to be taken care of with the utmost professionalism. So today I've shared with you all three very important experiences from my life during my mortgage sales journey. And why is it more important to me to share this? Because I know that whenever a mortgage sales team is going through some patches which every sales team goes through, where things are not moving their way due to tough competition, market scenarios, you tend to lose ideas. And these few experiences of mine will give you some insights on how to think out of the box and do the basics right. If you do the basics right, no matter where you are, which situation you are in, you will ensure you achieve your goals. So this is wishing all of you the best of luck in the mortgage sales career, and I'm equally excited because I'm looking forward to re-enter the mortgage sales industry. So watch out for the space. Take care, and thank you so much.